I'll speak to it. It'll probably come as no great surprise to the board members, especially those of you who have perhaps had an opportunity over the weekend to read my rambling thoughts on this subject. But I feel as though I must speak out as strongly as I possibly can against this refinancing. My position is based upon two major beliefs in my part. One, I reject the premise that has been brought up in this room before, that we must correct errors that were made by a prior board. The prior board, and I was part of that board, as a matter of fact, I was largely responsible for negotiating this errant loan that we currently have, but I can assure you that none of those board members nor I profited personally from that error. It was an honest error. It simply was an oversight. We did it. I apologize. I'll apologize to the group. I'll resign from the board if the group, if the board wants to, or if the membership wants to vote me out for making that error. But I can find no mention in our governing documents of any requirement for a current board to go back and to fix or correct an error made by a prior board. Those of you who had a chance to read my ramblings over the weekend will remember that I raised this same question to the Community Association Institute members, and while I didn't get an overwhelming response, I certainly wouldn't consider it a mandate, but I did hear from other members of other boards, of other community associations, and they agreed that they would not go back and fix an error that had been made in the past. The other major reason for my objection is financial. In the absence of a mandate to fix an error that was made in the past, I think we have to start thinking about financial situations. And while it is true that over the long run we would reap some savings, certainly not the 33K that we started talking about, because, as we said earlier, it's a 5-year loan rather than a 10-year loan. While over the long run we would reap some savings, in the short term it's going to cost us upfront $18,000 that we don't have in the budget. That's an $18,000 immediate expenditure of funds. The monthly payment for the new loan, even though the interest rate is lower, because we're amortizing it over a shorter period, the monthly cost to pay back the new loan would be about $1,400 a month higher than the existing loan. The collateral for the new loan would encumber some 91 of our of Lake Holiday owned lots. Someday, the economy is going to turn around, the real estate market is going to turn around, hopefully in the near term rather than the long term, and we might be able to put those markets, if they were not otherwise encumbered, on the market again and maybe sell one or two. I don't want to encumber 91 lots for the duration of this loan. And finally, the loan, the new loan, requires us, when we met with Wachovia the last time, the new loan required a $200,000 cash deposit. That $200,000 I've learned tonight has now become $150,000, but nonetheless, that encumbers $150,000 of our money for the life of this loan. It's going to be at least 10 years before we pay off the loan, probably longer. So that means that we don't have use of that $150,000 for 10 to 15 years. Again, let me 10. I don't think we're going to, well, okay, sometime, some lengthy period. I don't see us paying it off in 10 years, but maybe we will. Even though we don't have a mandate to fix old errors that we discovered, we do have a mandate as part of our fiscal responsibility, fiduciary responsibility to our members to use their money wisely and effectively. And I just don't think it's in the best interest of any of our members to saddle them with an $18,000 immediate out-of-pocket expense and $1,400 more every month to pay off this loan. If we look around, we see that the economy is heading south. The cost of gas, the cost of food, the cost of essentials is going up. This is precisely the time that this board ought to be looking for ways to cut costs for the membership rather than increase the membership's cost. And refinancing the loan, just as far as I'm concerned, doesn't meet this test. And I urge this board not to refinance this loan and incur these additional costs to the membership. I'll get off my soapbox. Steve.
John, you danced around it. What error are you referring to?
I think Ray said that. The governing documents say that it is not permissible, and help me with this, whether it's...
All right, that's the error you're referring to.
That's the error I'm referring to. We should not have entered into this loan
With the clubhouse.
for the clubhouse without a 67% vote of the membership. We were not aware of that at the time. We entered into the loan without a 67% vote.
But that's the error. That's the error.
That's the error I'm referring to.
And the other part of your argument is financial.
The other part of my argument is financial. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just let me clarify something, so all board members understand exactly what we're talking about. Our articles of incorporation state, here's what it says precisely: a mortgage or other encumbrance by the association of the common or recreational areas or facilities then subject to the declaration or any part thereof shall require the assent of more than 67% of the total eligible voting power of the membership of the association. That's the statement in the Articles of Incorporation.
Can I make this point, Wayne?
Well, you had a point, and you did get to let everybody else make their points and you go back.
It's to do with your reason. There's no definition of what the total eligible voting power of the membership of the association is in those articles.
One can reasonably assume it's entire membership.
That contradicts in the next page.